You're learning more about the raid on a Reno physician's office from a patient who was there. It happened last Wednesday when FBI agents walked in and took over. Dr. Samuel Chacon's license was suspended by the State Board of Medical Examiners because this body claims his contributions and his practice would pose an imminent risk of harm to patients and to the public. KOLO 8 News Now's Terry Russell talked with the eyewitness who was there for a first doctor's visit. As it turned out, it would be her last.
Yeah, definitely giving myself more time to do research, I think would have kind of shut me down and told me to run.
Our patient we're calling Rose asked us to shoot her in silhouette because of the sensitive nature of our conversation. It concerns her pregnancy, her health insurance status, and her one-time visit last Wednesday to OBGYN Dr. Samuel Chacon's office. That was the day after the doctor's license was suspended by the Nevada State Board of Medical Examiners. All information she was not made privy to by the doctor or his staff.
Even though he knew that he had his license suspended, he was still going to go and give me medical advice and tell me whatever procedures I needed. It scares me the most to think that if he had never had his license suspended, how much worse I would feel right now.
11 weeks pregnant and high risk, Rose says she chose Dr. Chacon after reading reviews online. While there were negative comments, she chose to focus on the positives, as she only needed the doctor until November, when she could find another doctor on Nevada's health insurance exchange. Her husband makes too much money to qualify for Medicaid. She called Chacon's office to see how much a cash visit would cost. While they quoted her a price, they also added this.
And told me that he would only take me up to birth, but he would not deliver at the hospital.
That's because Dr. Chacon has lost his privileges at local hospitals, another fact not known by Rose. She says she arrived at the office on Wednesday, September 6th, received a quick ultrasound, paid her money, and sat in the waiting room to talk to Dr. Chacon.
An FBI agent had come in and demanded for the doctor to come out into the waiting room to speak with them. The woman who had opened the door to the back of the office had told the FBI agent that she didn't know if he was here or not, and he had said something along the lines of, "We know he's here because his car's in the parking lot."
The events moved quickly after that.
Till a few other agents and officers had come into the waiting room and told us that the office was shut down. And when I had stood up, I made a joke saying, "Everyone's day just got more interesting, huh?" And he had told me, "You're gonna have to find, or you should find a new doctor. You'll thank us later." We had all walked downstairs, and so I spoke with someone from the State Board of Medical Examiners, and she had given me her card and her information so that I could contact her and getting my medical records back, and she told me to consider speaking with an attorney.
Rose says at 11 weeks pregnant, anxious to get an ultrasound and blood work, no health insurance, she may have experienced some tunnel vision. If those facts of her life had not been in the forefront, she says, she might have made other choices. But that day, she went back to the internet, and after reading of complaints and allegations against Dr. Chacon, she believes she got off pretty lucky.
Saw article after article about protests that people have done to try and stop them, different articles about women's experiences. I read more into the one-star reviews on Google as well, and kind of started to wonder how I surpassed all of that.
In its suspension of Dr. Chacon's practice, the State Board of Medical Examiners cites a high-risk patient pregnant with twins who developed gestational diabetes. Despite no hospital privileges, the doctor continued to see the patient, never referring her to another practice. He told her when it came time to deliver, just go to an emergency room. We have interviewed plenty of patients who report unethical care at the hands of Dr. Chacon. There are at least 7 malpractice suits against him, although those civil cases may take a backseat to a potential criminal case against Dr. Chacon. With all the facts before her, Rose tells us this.
I think I would trust my intuition a little more.
The State Board of Medical Examiners will meet again on October 12th to determine if Dr. Chacon's suspension should stay in place. In Reno, Terry Russell, KOLO 8 News Now.